There are many amazing places in the Witcher universe. A few that come to mind include the twin capitals of Kovia and Povis, Lanexeter and Point Vanis, the great kingdom of Zerrikania, and the enchanting world of the NL. Covering places like these and learning about areas like these is always fun, but sometimes I find it can be equally as interesting to discuss the places that are, I suppose you could say, more barren and dangerous. It is with this reasoning that I've decided to make today's video on one of, arguably, the most dangerous regions in the entire Witcher universe. This region is of course the Korath Desert. To begin with, the Korath Desert, or as it is known by most, the Frying Pan, is an area located in the far south. From this map, we can see that it appears to be located east of the kingdoms of Nazir, Metinna, and Ebbing, as well as east of the mountains of Tir Tocher. This desert is massive, and I believe the map I'm showing to you doesn't even represent this desert's true size. I mean, from the map alone, it appears to be almost as big as all of the northern kingdoms combined. So, imagine how big this desert would be if we could see its full size. The Korath Desert is a very dangerous place. Not only is there the threat of the intense heat that the desert exposes you to, but there is also the threat of the fact that this desert is home to almost no water. And even if a traveler were to decide to brave these harsh conditions, there are also large creatures, simply known as sand monsters, that live in the desert. They create large burrows beneath the sand, which act as traps for any creature that may stumble upon them. These burrows create pitfalls, and a pitfall is effectively, I suppose you could say, like a pit that has been covered in some way. In this case, it's covered by the weakened sand. Sand monsters are large venomous beasts, and they typically have cylindrical trunks that are covered with grey bristles, and they have large hooks that they use to grab their prey. When they catch their prey, they generally suck all of the moisture from their prey's body. Their main weaknesses is that they cannot burrow where the ground is too solid, but they find moving through sand pretty easy. Just as one more point to mention about this monster is that sand monster is not the official name, we simply don't have another name to refer to it as. In the Witcher book, The Time of Contempt, Ciri actually visits this desert, and this is due to the events of the Thanedd coup. Just as a brief explanation, Vilgefortz attempted to kidnap Ciri whilst this coup took place, and whilst fleeing, Ciri entered the magical portal in the Tower of the Gull. This portal was not stable, so ended up flinging her into the Korath Desert. I suppose instead of flying out of the frying pan into the fire, she flew into the frying pan. Anyway, whilst in this desert, Ciri had to survive, and fairly early on, she gave some pretty good descriptions of not only the intense sun, but also the lack of water and scenery. The scenery was initially described as being nothing but sharp grey rocks and a few shrubs which were dry and thorny. Whilst Ciri is in this desert, she also experiences just how cold it gets during the night, so despite its warmth during the day, at nighttime, this desert, like most deserts, gets very cold. Later, Ciri describes seeing a lot of mushroom-shaped rocks, along with large boulders, gravel, and of course sand. There is actually a quote of what Ciri sees, which I will read to you now, as it's just pretty interesting. The landscape changes, but not much. I've given you a basic overview of what it was like at the start. But anyway, for the quote. She was completely surrounded by a greyish-red, stony plain, scored by ravines and faults, with mounds of stone and huge, strangely shaped rocks. High above the plain hung an enormous, gold-burning sun, turning the entire sky yellow, distorting visibility with its blinding glare and making the air shimmer. Anyway, Ciri also encounters one of the sand monsters mentioned before, and surprisingly, a unicorn. I won't explain the reason she encountered a unicorn, but it's worth noting that this unicorn did in fact come from a different world. Other than these two magical creatures, all she encountered was lizards. In fact, she even ate some of their eggs to survive. Something interesting to also note is that in this desert, Ciri lost her magical powers. Some of you may not know this, but initially Ciri's magic was not just the powers of the Elder Blood. She was at one time able to draw from sources like Yennefer and Triss, but due to drawing from fire and then shutting herself off from magic out of fear, Ciri became unable to use that form of magic again. She drew from this fire out of the desperation the Korath Desert created in her. fire. She used it as the unicorn she was with had been injured and she saw no other way. If you didn't know, fire is a source of magic in the Witcher universe, but it is very dangerous to draw from. Eventually Ciri was found by a Nilfgaardian knight, and from there, the Korath Desert isn't really present in her story. The Korath Desert was said to not only be a barren desert, but in fact, legends say that the desert's sands cover a large necropolis, and catacombs of a long-forgotten race, or extinct human civilization. There has been no solid proof of this, but in a world that's filled with a variety of strange things, who knows? Maybe this desert was once home to a great civilization, or perhaps maybe this desert was at one time not a desert at all. There was also once a river on the western border of this desert, known as the Sutjak. However, this river has long been dried up due to the intense heat of the Korath Desert's sun. In the Witcher pen and paper RPG, it states that the Korath Desert is also home to ant scorpions and ant lions. However, this RPG is not canon to the books. The desert also acts as a natural barrier between the Nilfgaardian Empire and the far eastern kingdoms of Zerrikania and Hackland. Nilfgaard does regularly patrol this desert, although personally I don't really see the point. It would be almost impossible for Zerrikania to get an entire army through the wasteland anyway. I guess maybe Nilfgaard just want to keep track just in case of something like that, or maybe just bandits raging around, I don't know, but I guess they just want to make sure. Anyway guys, I hope you've all enjoyed today's Witcher lore video. This has been one that I've wanted to make for quite a while. I really like this area in the Witcher universe, and I have a pretty cool idea of how I want to actually record today's video, as, you know, I'm pretty sure you'll know from the video where I've decided to record today's video, and it seems like a really fun video to make. I think this is such a cool topic. I love this area. I think the bit with Ciri in this added so much depth to the books, as it really enhanced the world building, the fact she had to survive in this desert, and it goes through the whole process of her having to go through it, and it actually caused her to have all these issues that are present later in the books and the games. So yeah, I think it's a really cool part of the books, and I really like this area. Anyway guys, if you've enjoyed today's video, want to see more like it, or just want to support the channel in general, I would really appreciate you liking today's video, as it helps me out so much. These videos take me such a long time to do, and even just liking the video or commenting or something like that is just really helpful, so thank you to every single one of you that does that. Also, if this is the first video you're finding on my channel, be sure to subscribe. I do a Witcher lore video every week. I'm currently doing a Witcher 3 playthrough, so if you want to watch that, I'm trying to do every single thing I can in the playthrough, and it's going to take a while, but honestly I'm enjoying it, so maybe if you watch that playthrough you can see what you might have missed when you were playing The Witcher, or you might just enjoy watching me go about that world. So thank you to every single one of you that watches all my videos and just wants to subscribe. You're all amazing. Also, remember to follow me on Twitter and Twitch. I do updates on Twitter whenever anything interesting is happening with the channel. I posted on there, for example, when I hit 50,000 subscribers, which is just amazing. I want to say thank you for that again, even though it's been about a week or so since that happened, maybe 2 weeks, I'm not sure how long it's been, but I just want to say thank you for that again. That was amazing. And also I just post stuff on Twitter, so be sure to follow me on there if you don't want to miss any updates. Also on Twitch, I will play some games on there at some point. I'm not entirely sure what. I was thinking maybe that might be a good place to finish off my Red Dead playthrough that I currently have on the YouTube channel, but you know, I just thought maybe if I did that on Twitch, then it could kind of satisfy the people that want to see the rest of that playthrough, or maybe it'll come back on YouTube eventually. Who knows? But thank you to every single one of you that follows me there. Also, be sure to join the Reddit and Discord. I'm pretty sure you know what a Reddit is. You can just sort of post stuff on there. I give it a look. I'm thinking of maybe doing a Reddit video eventually, where I read some of what you guys are saying on there, some of the theories, some of the suggestions, look at some of the pictures and stuff. I think it might be quite fun just to do a Witcher themed version of that, or just a fantasy, or just our sort of fandom-y, you know, fantasy medieval stuff version of that. But you don't just have to post stuff like that. Post whatever you want as long as it's in the rules. Also about the Discord, is the Discord's actually quite a cool place to meet people that like this sort of thing, and there's also people that like other things on there. You know, there's an RP section, there's a chat section, there's a music recommendation section, there's loads of stuff on there, so be sure to check that out if you just want to have a bit of fun. We have over 700 members on there now. And finally guys, as always, a big thank you to the Patreon pledges. You guys are honestly amazing. You genuinely help out the channel so much, and I just want to say thank you to every single one of you that donates to me on Patreon. You're just honestly all so amazing. Thank you all so much. You just help out the channel a lot, and I just want to say thank you. But anyway guys, I hope you've all enjoyed today's Witcher lore video. Look forward to seeing the next video, be the next one you watch a lore video or a Witcher part, and I'll see you all in the next one. Have an awesome rest of the week.